And by this point, it's midnight. And it kept lighting up. And I thought, who's messaging him at this time?
Welcome, everybody, to the Not For Nothing podcast, hosted by the dynamic duo Christopher Michael and Ashley Maland, where they delve into life, love, relationships, and personal growth. Be sure to tune in every week for a refreshing take on life's most important lessons. You're originally from Falkirk, Scotland.
If anyone's watched Braveheart, the Battle of Falkirk.
Yes, I do. I actually do know that. Yeah, you're right.
That's actually where I'm from.
I forgot that.
Yes.
You're my Falkirk classic.
Number one movie. I told her.
I love it.
It's my favorite movie of all time.
I was messing with her last today. She was in the Uber. It's like, he's seen Braveheart. Don't worry.
I know. I'm like, I'm William Wallace's niece.
Yeah. I mean, if that were only true.
So you were in London, Vidal Sassoon first, though, right?
I was in Glasgow.
So
I started off in Glasgow when I was 16 years old.
Okay.
And worked my way up through the management kind of sector of it.
Right.
Became the manager in our Covent Garden salon.
Okay.
And then I got transferred to Beverly Hills in 2016 to manage the location there.
That's awesome.
So you started working for them, though, when you were 16 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could do that. I didn't know you could work in a salon at 16. Did you already have like a cosmetology license?
So we don't have cosmetology in the UK.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I did know that, actually.
Yeah, it's called an NVQ level 2 and then level 3.
Okay.
How young do you start working in Scotland typically?
Well, normally it's about 16.
About 16.
Yeah, and then if you want to stay at school and go to like university and do like a degree or something, then you stay till you're 18. And then you'll move on to college and whatever. But if you want to do any type of apprenticeship program,
right,
like hairdressing, plumbing, electrician, you have to leave by your 16 to start the apprenticeship.
Oh, wow.
But I started working when I was 14.
Wow.
Hard worker we have over here.
Well, no, I'll blame it on my dad, let me tell you. No, my dad was very, very strict with us. Well, with me growing up, not as much my sister.
You were his only daughter, or you have a sister?
I've got a sister. So I was the firstborn, and then my sister came 4 years later.
You're the baby.
Oh, she's a nutter. Sorry, Nicole.
No, she's not the baby.
She's not you're not the baby.
My sister's the baby.
She's, yeah.
But yeah, I was like the tester child. So my dad had a very strong, strict upbringing for me, but I don't regret any of it. So I was out at 14.
Yeah, well, it's our upbringings that make us who we are.
But she's sweet because her mom is just like an angel.
My mom is an angel.
She's like a little angel.
Samantha's an angel.
Is that her name, Samantha?
Samantha.
Oh, I love
What's
it.
your father's name?
Stuart.
Well, how's that?
Stuart.
Stuart.
Oh, Stuart.
We say Stuart. We say Stuart.
I'm her translator.
That's gonna come in handy.
We've got
today,
Samantha,
for sure.
We've got Stuart, we've got Sarah, and then you've got Nicole.
Oh,
Okay,
funny.
Wow. So where do you fall in that line as far as who's the eldest, who's the youngest?
I'm the oldest.
You're the
There's only two girls.
There's only two of us.
No, but you said you had a brother too?
No.
Oh, I apologize. I misunderstood.
Nicole's
Stuart's her dad. Samantha's her mom.
Understood now.
It's Sarah, and then she's a little sister.
Okay. What's the gap between the two of you?
4 years.
Okay, so it's pretty close.
Yeah, 4 years. But no, she's like the rebel child.
Is she really?
Yeah, I was always like, just kind of done what I was told.
Right.
Like, the fear of God went into me. But my sister was like the rebel.
Yeah, families are always hardest on the first.
Oh, yeah.
A little softer on the baby.
She would like beat up boys at school if you said something to her.
I'm not surprised
like
at all.
she would say to my mum and dad, I don't have any socks. So they'd be like, well, tough, and she'd be like, well, I'm not going to school then. I was like, okay, I'll go. I'll turn up. I'll be there.
That's hilarious.
Now, were they easier on her? Like,
I don't think they had a choice.
Right.
Like she ran that house.
Oh, she ran that house, but she's so strong. She's always been so strong, knows exactly who she is, what she wants. Yeah, she's amazing. She was a nightmare growing up.
Right.
She was a nightmare growing up. I was the angel.
I mean, honestly, though, you're compared to a girl that's born and raised in America, you're really pretty strong-willed too and determined too.
Yeah, that's my Scottish background.
Yeah,
we'll get into that one.
Culturally, how different was it for you when you came here? Was it like a shock to you or to your system?
I mean, it's still a shock to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in Los Angeles. It's a big shock.
Is it? How would you describe? Would you say it's a lot looser as far as how people live compared to Scotland?
I mean, I think it's really important to talk about Scottish culture because I get into so many differences of how I was brought up in comparison to people in the States, right?
Right.
So like my dad, again, he was very strict with us, but also at school and like your environment, we're taught a certain thing. And I was explaining this to Ashley, and there's different ways that you can take this. But it's like, so Scottish people were taught you always be kind, generous and honest, right?
Yeah.
But you never lift your hand to someone. But if someone lifts their hand to you, you make sure you have the last hand down.
Right.
Right.
It's a good
Amen.
way to live. Yeah.
And that goes in so many different ways. It doesn't mean it needs to be physical.
Right.
Right. If we got physical, that's what we go by. Right. You've seen Braveheart. You've seen
Yeah.
Outlander.
Right.
You know how it is. Right. But it's the same as like if someone does you wrong, right, you stand up for yourself.
Right.
Like you don't allow someone to treat you a certain way and you don't stop until you achieve that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the same with like growing up with like being at school. If, say, for instance, I'll give you an example, your friend was getting bullied, right? As a team, as a group, you protect your team, your group, right? So it's like if your friend got into a fight, you better believe every single one person is going to be involved in that.
Right.
Your friend has a boyfriend that they break up, but yous are all friends. You have, like, it's your duty basically to stick by your friends.
Yeah.
As you know, I find that so difficult in America, well, Los Angeles, is that people go, oh, well, you know, like, I'm not going to get involved and I'm keeping out of it and I'm going to keep the cool with everyone and let's just play peace. I'm just going to walk away. I'll be the bigger person. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you.
it.
Loyalty's hard around here.
Yeah,
in
and
the
it's
US.
not like I would never do anything spiteful. Like you don't ever, like, remember, you never make that first move to do something.
Yeah.
Like you're always kind and generous
Absolutely.
and loyal.
Yeah.
So when that gets broken,
Yeah.
You finish it.
William Wallace comes out, honey. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're ready
So-
for battle.
You were bullied too, weren't you, growing up?
Believe it or not, I was Big Bertha.
Big
Were you really?
I was Big Bertha.
Yeah, I would not have actually thought that.
Oh, I've got some images and pictures I can show you.
Okay.
I showed you, right?
Yeah, you
and you were
did.
like, that's not you. There's no way.
Yeah.
But you know what's actually beautiful about this is I was real fat. I'm not even going to like sugarcoat it. Get that? That's my company name, by the way, Sugarcoat. But yeah, I was real fat and I used to get bullied at school and like all the kids would have like boyfriends or someone that would fancy them and I had nothing.
Right.
But I'd go back home and I'd say to my mum, I've been bullied today, I'm crying, I've been called fat, X, Y, and Z. And my mum says, what are you talking about? They're lying. They're jealous of you. You're beautiful. And she would always
she's
remind
sweet.
me, you are beautiful.
So
So then I'd go back to school going, my mum said I'm beautiful. So, do you know what I'm saying?
So
So
fuck
it's
you.
true. I love that. But you know what? I
Yeah.
think that's probably why you have the confidence you do now.
Yeah.
Because you had a mother that instilled in you that you were beautiful, that you were valuable.
She still says that.
And she meant it, she meant it, but that instilled in you that belief in yourself. And that's so important.
Yeah.
So important.
It really is.
No,
really
it is. And look at you now. You know what they say? They say, he who laughs last, laughs loudest.
Oh, I'm laughing all the way.
So, that's it. And it's the truth. You know, people like to pick on you when you're younger and they like to shun you. But then, those are the people that stay driven and focused and they have in the back of their minds their whole time that, watch, I'm going to show you.
Oh, again, that's something that, which I can get in, we'll get into a little bit later too, but my dad was always so strict, but really, I wouldn't say pushy, but he would, like if I'm told I can't do something,
Right.
you better believe I'm going to come back tenfold,
Right.
right? Like I've always been driven that way, right? I've always been driven like, well, you can't do that. Like I always remember there was a salon that I started working in when I was 15. And they turned around and said to me, you'll never be a hairdresser. You'll never be a hairdresser. They would uninvite me to things, not involve me. And I remember one day I walked out at lunch and I just never went back. And I cried and cried, called my dad. And my dad came to pick me up and he went, what's your problem, Sarah? And I said, well, they're saying I'm never going to be a hairdresser and, I've just left school and X, Y, Z again. And he went, well, you must be shite then.
Right.
Like,
Wow.
he just went, well, you must be bad then. If the hairdressers are telling you that you're never going to be a hairdresser, well, you're never going to be good then. You might as well go and work at the soap factory.
Wow.
Soap factory.
That's tough love for sure, huh?
And then, so, you know what happened? I went on a train to Glasgow, which is one of our big city centres. I came out of my little town in Falkirk and went out to Glasgow. And I walked into Vidal Sassoon. And it's, if you're ever going to do anything in life, I think go to the top.
Yeah.
And Vidal
Agreed.
Sassoon is such a huge international company
Yeah.
that I went, well, if I'm going to do something, I'm not going to go to Sally's next door.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to go straight to Vidal Sassoon, who's global, international, and I'm going to get a job there. Sure enough, I went there, had my interview, got my job there, and we had these, as apprenticeships, we had these Vidal Sassoon t-shirts that we had to wear as our uniform. I packed one of them up, sent it to that salon, and went, well, don't want to exactly say what I said, but
Oh, yes.
Feel free to share.
but it's like that feeling feels amazing to me, to be like, see, told you so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know, don't challenge me. So
Gosh, isn't that amazing? Like
really
just
is.
going through life, proving people wrong. Without,
yeah.
you don't even have to be spiteful or mean. You can literally just be you, do you, give it your best shot, and people get to watch you succeed when they thought you'd fail.
oh yeah, it's like let them watch.
Yeah,
that's the
let them watch.
Let them watch. Don't hide away.
I'm in that season too of, you know what? That's okay. I don't need people to support me in everything I do.
Yeah.
They can just watch me as I support myself.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
You know,
1,000,000%.
didn't want me in your life? That's okay.
Yeah.
Didn't need me? That's okay. Didn't believe in me? That's okay. Because I can do all those things.
Oh,
I can
yeah.
do all those things, and you'll get to sit back and think,
Well, it's like the same thing. Like, look at all those bullies back in school.
Yeah.
Like, did you get bullied?
I didn't get bullied. No,
I did.
I can't say that I did.
I
And
did.
how are they doing?
I mean, I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Nothing against my people back in Falkirk, but it's like those people that were bullies and that put you down consistently. I don't need to say too much. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Right,
where they are,
absolutely.
where I am is in completely different comparisons in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. The truth of the matter is, it's like, it doesn't really even matter. Because, you know, whether they're doing good or whether they aren't, like at some point in life, you look back and you go, man, I was a real asshole to that person.
yeah.
And
They have to live their life through
you
that.
have to live with that, you
But
know?
it's funny when you start to do things, the DMs start to get blown
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Right?
Well, you know, so if you're a decent human being and you actually mature as you get older, you should look back and say, oh, you know, I was really shitty to that person. I wish I wasn't. You know, it's
Yeah.
part of growing up, becoming an adult.
Yeah. You've actually apologized to people from your past, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a bully when I was younger. I just was kind of just never really cared about anything else except what I was doing.
Yeah.
So during that time, it was just me, right? Like it didn't matter to me what was in my path. A part of it was success driven. A part of it was I was a fuck up and it really didn't matter where it came from. But yeah, so I had a lot of remorse once I got my life back on track and I felt terrible. So yeah, I was reaching out to people for few years.
Wow.
You know, it's because some people took time to get back to me or I had to be a little bit more persistent getting in touch with them. But I made it a point to continue to keep trying to get in touch with the people I couldn't until I did. And then once I
Wow.
did, I felt relieved, honestly, because it's tough. You
It's
know?
hard to live with guilt.
It is.
You
It's
know?
guilt will kill you. I always say there's a lot of things that I can live with, but regret and guilt are not one.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, I will always, if I've done something wrong, I will be the first person to admit it.
Amen.
Like, I'm not the type of person that's done something, I'm fully aware of it, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm stubborn and just don't say anything. Like,
Yeah.
I will over apologize even if it wasn't that
Mhm.
bad,
Right.
Mhm.
because I don't want to live with like peace with myself.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, I can't understand people that don't. Like, what is getting in the way? I mean, the ego that people have where they can't apologize. It's beyond what I can comprehend or understand. And there's a lot of people like that. But it's like, what kind of person are you that you can't look at yourself? It's a lack of awareness. It's a lack of self-awareness and not understanding that we're all human. And I feel like the people that are the worst about that are the people that have the least grace for themselves. Like, they can't apologize because then they have to admit that they were in the wrong, and admitting that they were in the wrong brings shame, right? And so there's no grace for themselves. And it's also partly because they don't have grace for other people. So they can't even allow themselves to have grace for themselves because they don't give it to other people. So that's hypocritical if you do.
Yeah.
But I'm the same as you, just a whole lot of sorries. And, you know, how can I make it right? It's because I would rather mend something than, you know, hurt someone and just act like nothing happened, you know?
Why burn bridges when you can build them? You know,
Right.
I mean, it's crazy that people, but it is, you're right. It's ego. And then people don't want to admit defeat. And some people just genuinely feel like they were right and will always feel like they were right. And they're just never going to, you know, take another view on it. So, I mean, it's tough, but listen, at the end of the day, we all need to just worry about ourselves. We can't help what other people do, what they apologize for. Unfortunately, we'll never be able to. So no matter how hard you try to get through to certain people, unfortunately, we're just never going to. So you live your life, you do your thing. You look back at the people that did it to you and, you know, Basically, your success is a giant fuck you to them. And that's the best revenge that you can get on somebody.
Oh, 100%.
Especially when they tell you that you can't do something. Be 100 times more successful in whatever you do.
Oh, when someone tells me I can't do something, no, that smile, that little cheeky Chester smile comes up and I'm like,
it's fuel for you. You know,
I know what to do to you now to get, you know,
like,
to get you working behind those scenes.
It's a huge motivator for a lot of
Sarah,
people.
you can't do it. You just can't, okay?
I'm like, move, bitch.
Throw them bows.
You can't. Well, if you're wondering what we're talking about, she's decided she's going to be my agent. That's where we're at.
Oh, wow.
Sarah,
That's
you
where
can't
we're
do
at
it,
now,
okay? You're not going to make us successful. Just let it go.
So I need to go. I need to run now.
No, speaking of forgiveness and all of that, some things are really hard to forgive.
They are.
Which brings me to a point where the reason why that Sarah's here, and I'm so proud of her for coming on the show and speaking about this, because I know how hard it is. I've done it myself, but it's like a breath of fresh air when you do. So both Sarah and I are survivors of domestic violence, and it's part of why we connected. And so I want to hear more about that. I want the world to hear your story. So yeah.
Where do I start?
I know, right?
Start wherever you're comfortable starting.
I mean, I'll just give you a little background story. So I had this individual slide into the DMs, as that's how it normally happens. Seemed sweet, just honest, just seemed like a real good person. And I just fell in love, basically. Fell in love, introduced him to all my friends and everyone that I have. And I have very critical people around me that really just loved who he was, right? And you know, one of my friends even said, I could never imagine you having an argument with this person, right?
Right.
So anyway, we're together. I'm like loving life. I'm like, you know, falling in love, you know, all the above. And then we decided to get married. And we only got married 4 months of dating each other.
Wow. Very quick.
Yeah.
Wow.
I watched too much of that Pamela Anderson, Tommy.
I can't judge you there. I was married at 6 months.
I was like, I've got blonde hair, you've got tattoos, and you drum, so I might as
It's a perfect LA love story.
It makes sense.
Let's go and do it. So anyway, we done that, we got married, and pretty much right after we got married, it just went downhill.
Wow.
And
that quick, huh?
I mean, like next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the typical story of abuse and how it happens.
Yeah, it's like, okay, cool, I'm trapped now.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, you start to see things, you start to see red flags, you start to question yourself.
Right.
There's a lot of gaslighting, manipulation. You know, I'm such an over communicator as he wasn't, right? So a lot of it was very internal for me to like, I was overthinking things and thinking, did that just happen? Did that happen? No. Okay, I'll just apologize for it anyway, because maybe I'm wrong, right? And then that just progressively got worse. I ended up sick one time. It was just before Thanksgiving, and you know, my weight dramatically dropped. I was sick. Wow. I wasn't there right mentally. I had a lot of anxiety, depression that I have never had before. I've never been that person. I'm a very positive, uplifting person.
Right.
And I would try and talk to him about it, and he would just be like, depression doesn't exist. This is all in your head. You're the problem. You're the problem.
Wow.
And I actually got really sick one time, and I was bedbound, and I was like that for 24 hours. He must have came in to check on me twice, and it was such an inconvenience for him because I had to be in my bed all day while he was playing his Xbox, you know?
Right.
And I remember he came and goes, well, do you need something? And I went, yeah, can you get me Pepto-Bismol? And he went, let me go and look for it.
Wow.
So he goes, and 2 hours go by. He goes back on his Xbox, right? I'm like bedridden. I can't even reach over to get my phone to text him or to text a friend or whatever. And then he comes back, goes, we don't have any. And I went, well, no, we do. He goes, you need to reorganize that medical box because we don't have, like, just blaming me. And I'm lying there and I'm like,
oh my God.
Just go and get me some, right? So anyway, he ends up eventually going to get me it. 3.5 hours go by.
Jesus.
Right? And then that was it. And he decided he wasn't, because I was screaming so loud normal people will take you to hospital, right?
Right, absolutely.
I'm screaming so loud that it's too noisy for him. So he would sleep on the couch that evening, right? One of my best friends had realized that I was not answering my phone. She was really concerned and worried about me. And she called him and said, I'm really worried about Sara. I'm very concerned. And she said, can you please go and check on her? And he never checked on me.
Wow.
But my friends went, no, you were fine, because I heard him opening a door and he said that you were asleep.
What was he opening up another door?
Yeah.
Pretending? Wow, what a fucking douche.
Right?
Yep.
And then the next following day was Thanksgiving. And we were all due to go to his family's house for Thanksgiving. I'm bedridden, I'm sick. He gets up in the morning and he goes, are you okay? And I said, well, no. And he goes, well, I need to go to the gym. Okay? I go to the gym. And I'm sitting there going, you wouldn't care if I died at this point. Right? And that's where really the big turn went. We ended up going to urgent care. And I had a lot of things underlying that was actually an issue. And he still, even after all of that, I was an inconvenience for going to urgent care, right? I ended up taking hydrocodone, all these different drugs just to get me through so that we could go with his families and still have Thanksgiving.
Wow.
And I just thought, wow, this is my husband, right? And then after that, that was kind of the peak before New Year. And it was just the abuse was going through, or I would go to, I'll give you another example. Like I would go to work one day and work maybe 10 hours, right? He would be at home on the Xbox all day. And I'd come home and go, oh my God, I've not ate today. I've maybe went to the bathroom once. What are we having for dinner? And he would do this with his headphones to go, take them off, place them down, look at me and go, you said you were going to have dinner for us tonight. And I went, I didn't say that. Sara, do I need to start recording you?
Oh, man.
Right? So then I would go, did I say that?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Did I?
That's what they do.
And I'm like, but would you not take the intuition to think I've been working all day?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Let me organize dinner. Let me pay for it. Everything, which I paid for everything, by the way, as well. So then all of that happened. That was like a build up, right? And then what actually happened,
It's amazing how abusers are all so alike. They do the same things. They say the same things. It's really strange.
But I think you also question you. You start thinking.
That's what they do.
You're like, wait, I'm strong. How can I not see these things?
Yeah.
My friends and family are telling me certain things. And I'm like, no. That can't be happening
because
to
it
me.
happens so slowly. It's like being poisoned slowly over time. You don't even see it until it's so bad that there's no way you could possibly ignore it anymore. And by then, you're so attached to this person. You're so connected to this person that you start questioning everything about your reality because you're like, now what? Now what?
Yeah.
Well, they say, I've read a couple of things, and they say these guys, even women, manipulators, are just very, very good and calculated at what they do. And it's very premeditated. So they know what they're doing, how they're going to do it. And they have, like I said, one of the biggest things they do, it's called, I think you say, like breadcrumbing. So they'll leave you like little things to give you hope. And they keep giving you hope here and there when things get really bad.
Yeah.
So that they can kind of bring you back on track.
Yeah, and then you deserve them with a 6-course meal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tell us when it took a turn. I mean, you were already experiencing abuse, manipulation, gaslighting, but those are all things that like you could possibly question. Like there's still like a question of, is it them? Is it me? Right? So when did it take a turn where you were like, life changed?
Well, what happened is this is someone that, would always go away for work, right? And when he wasn't working, he didn't drink, he didn't go out. He just wanted to play his Xbox as much as he possibly could, right? And what happened was it was one night, he came back late, I was going around my day, and then it got to about 11 o'clock at night and he went to bed. And I had just so much anxiety. And I think as women, not saying that men don't either, but women have this intuition, right?
I agree.
It's really strong. It's a lot stronger, right? And I just had this intuition, something's not right, And a couple of days before, I actually went through to his family's home to ask for help and ask, something's not right. Can you guys please help me? Am I crazy, because I think we have this assumption, right, that I'm crazy. I'm the problem.
Yeah. Right.
I'm like, again.
And they will tell you that you are. They'll tell you it's you,
yeah.
that you're the problem, that you're crazy, that you're toxic, that you are too emotional, you are over the top, you need to give them peace, give them space. This is all you.
Yeah. And, you know, the only person from that family is my sister-in-law, Natalie. She's been my absolute guardian angel through all of this. I just want to mention her. Because even that day she was at the family's house and she was like, no. Listen to her. Something's not right. And she's had my back from then all the way through all of this, all the way through all my healing and my trauma, right? Yeah. So I went there, done that. So this one night we'll go back. So around about 11 o'clock at night, he goes to bed. I can't sleep. I have the worst anxiety, this horrible intuition in my tummy. And so I went to the kitchen. So the way that our house is 4 bedroom, 3 bath. And we had a room at the back of the house, the front of the house. He had like his drum room where he played his games. All his stuff was there and there was a bathroom there. Next to that was the kitchen, right? So we were at the back of the house, our bedroom. So I go to the kitchen, I'm starting making meal plans for him for the week, right? Just again, overachieving, overdoing things, right? And I needed to use the restroom. I didn't want to wake him. So I go into the restroom that's attached to his kind of drum room, and he had this Apple Watch and it kept lighting up. And by this point, it's midnight. And it kept lighting up. And I thought, who's messaging him at this time? And, you know, I've always went into relationships with trust. Like, I feel like I've never wanted to look at someone's phone. I'd never looked at his phone. I'd never looked at his belongings because I feel like that's his. And what's mine's mine. And
that's healthy.
It is healthy because I feel like, listen, you can't control someone, right? You try and control someone, right? It's not going to work. Someone's going to do what they're going to do regardless of how much pressure you put on someone. It's how you react to the situation that's most important.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So that's why I always was like, no, I never want to have that type of relationship. Relationships are, you know, it's 2 people coming together. It's not to control someone. It's not conservativeship, right? So I never did. But this Apple Watch is lighting up. It's right in front of me. I didn't even know his code to his phone. That's how serious I was about this. And I just went, oh, fuck it. Just something went, fuck it.
Yeah.
And I went onto his Apple Watch and I just put in his birthday and it opened up.
Wow.
And the message that I read, I will never forget word by word this message. And it was, he said, thanks for meeting me for lunch today. And she wrote, thanks for filling me up in the AT&T employee parking lot.
An asshole.
Right? So gross.
Wow.
And I'm like, did he put gas in her car? Just looking like thinking stupid,
at AT&T?
Right? Parking lot. And I'm like, wait, was there a gas station there? Like,
yeah, you're trying to rationalize it at that point.
Right?
I get it.
So then what happened is I go through and read the messages. Oh. And I went, oh my God, this happened at 12 o'clock today in his car in a parking lot.
What happened?
So what happened is at that point, I knew my life was about to change because I already made that decision for myself. I don't want to know why you done it. I don't want to hear how you done it, why you done it, if you did it, if you didn't. It happened.
Yeah.
So how am I reacting to it? I knew that was it, done.
You read those messages and it was clearer than day.
You know, I was ready to lose my green card. I was ready to lose my dogs that I love, my home that I built, my business, my whole life, my friends that I have out here, right? Rather than lose my dignity and lose, you know, like I can't go through my life accepting that. I can't do it.
And your life was at risk at that point.
Exactly. So what happened is the adrenaline's obviously going through me. I'm trying to calm myself down because I'm like, I'm about to lose everything here. I'm about to lose everything. And that was a horrible, upset reaction as well. I walked down the corridor, opened the door to our bedroom, and I stood against the wall. He was still sleeping. I woke him up and I said, you need to leave. And I went, get up, get out. And no emotion, no nothing. And I went, you need to leave. I've just read your messages. Like, get out. Like, get out of the house now. And this is the reaction I got. He went, like, yawned. He went,
right, like cavalier.
And went, no.
Wow.
Like this, looked at me. No.
That is terrifying.
And I'm like, no, you need to get out.
Yeah.
Like, leave. Like, leave. Right? And, you know, I started off calm and I did shout at the end and I went, get out of the fucking house. And this is traumatizing, but he just launched straight across the bed, grabbed his hand against my face, and just continuously kept smashing my head off the wall.
It's okay.
Take your time. You're fine.
It's okay.
Take a breath. You're good. There's no rush.
She's strong.
It's all right. Whenever you're ready. It's not.
Right.
You're good.
And I had like a hair clip behind my back of my head that was completely shattered. I mean, you have to remember this is a drummer. The strength of a drummer's arm against my face and hitting my head off the back of the wall. I mean, I was definitely concussed. I was like, what's just happened? My whole body froze. Like he's never lifted his hand to me before.
Right.
Right.
It's not like I'm saying, oh, I've been abused. I've been physically abused. I'd never been abused by him. But it was like this mask came off.
Yeah. Because
He'd
he
been
was
caught.
caught in something he couldn't deny.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is someone that is a complete and utter sociopath.
Well, he knew he was about to lose it all.
And, you know, and like, I think he was thinking he could get away with so much, and he had been for so long
Right.
that he now got caught. But yeah, I think as a natural reaction, you would think someone would be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, let me make this up to you.
Yeah.
Oh no, I got my head smashed against the wall.
He knew.
And so, you know, to this day, I have never had an apology.
Unbelievable.
I've had no remorse to what happened to me that day. That happened. I then contacted his family. I contacted his mum. I was told to calm down. Tomorrow's a new day. That's what my reaction was from that family.
Wow.
And
Like they just expected you to just get over it.
Yeah.
yeah, you know, and then I ended up looking to see where he was because we have cameras and I couldn't see where he was. He'd never left the house.
So he finally left after that incident.
No. I mean, I know the times off by heart happened on the time. 2 minutes past they were. 4 minutes past is when I messaged his family, his mother. I messaged my other friend asking for help. I wanted to get her husband to come and help me because I was now panicking for my life.
Yeah, sure.
He never left until 34 minutes past they were. So he was in the house for a long time.
What was he doing? Just
He was on the couch getting ready to go to bed.
Jesus.
So when I went round there, I said to him, get out, like get out of the house. Like my face was all starting to swell up. You know, there's marks on the wall, my hair clip shattered, and I just can't believe the cheating. And then now you've just assaulted me. I've never been in a school fight before, let me tell you that.
And he's just sitting on the couch completely calm. Like
Completely
nothing
calm.
ever happened.
And just saying, I hate you.
Awesome.
And then I went to go and we have a car that we have together. I ran over to the front door to take the keys off of the car. And he ran after me and he went up to come down and to punch me. So there was no remorse at all because he was about to do it for a second time,
Right.
but missed. And at that point, I grabbed my dogs, ran back to my room, locked the door, and I threatened to call the police. At that,
Good.
he got a couple of belongings and he left. Now, the interesting part,
For the record, I'm very sorry that happened to you. And as a man, if I could, I'd wipe them off the face of the earth.
Amen.
Every one of them.
Amen.
you know, and then what happened afterwards was when my whole world just crumbled. My whole world crumbled at that point.
Yeah.
Right? Because I knew, like, I've never spoke or seen that boy since, except from court situations, obviously.
Right.
So I go into his room and I start packing up his clothes. So you can't go to sleep. I've been through so much trauma. I'm concussed as well, right? And I found a spare phone. And so I charged the phone, it's dead. And the next day, well, it was the same day because going into the morning, but wow, that's all I'm going to tell you.
What did you find on there besides the obvious?
Well, there was in his notes, it said important information.
Okay.
All his passwords for all his devices.
Wow. So you found everything.
Everything. I stopped at 20 men and women.
Men and women. Really?
and I won't be mentioning names. Yeah. Some of them were for money.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So he was getting prostitutes and escorts?
He was
getting paid? Or really?
He was getting paid?
He was getting paid. Wow.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Your husband was getting paid for sexual favors?
And making videos and...
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, it was shocking to me to find out that. And then there was all these other lies that just came to play and came alight, and just reading the messages from, men and women, and just being like, who the hell did I marry?
Must have been surreal.
Who the hell did I marry?
Yeah.
So he had a completely separate life outside of you.
I mean, just the lies. I mean, even like, it wasn't just like a boom, here you go, this is what's happened. Months later, continuously finding out. I remember like he told me that he didn't know who his father was. This is really sick, actually. When I actually going back to think about it. Even the day that we got married and we signed our registration form, he couldn't tell the lady where his father was born. He didn't know him, never met him.
Right.
His father reached out to me. He was with him until he was 13 years old.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And this man is, I've never met him. You can just tell such a kind heart. He's been so hurt, to not have access to his son, to the family, really. And I will tell you, full circle, that family that I didn't know when I was married have all came together and went, okay, we're still your family.
Wow.
I never met them. And they've been just such a heart of gold with me. I mean, like, I've had to deal with this by myself.
Yeah.
My family live in Scotland.
Yeah.
Like, my family don't, they don't have the funds to just fly out to see me, to to take care of me like everyone else will have their family.
Right.
That family completely went, you're wrong.
So his mother and that part of his family just abandoned you.
Oh yeah, she's evil.
And then his father, who he swore he didn't know, you had no idea, even the day you got married, had no idea they existed. They came, They found out about this, came in and supported you in it.
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
Yeah. And, I'm so blessed that, so his brother and his brother's wife, Natalie, that I mentioned earlier. I mean, she called me every hour of the day.
Wow.
Like, was there for me, brought me a part of her family. I'm now, I get invited to all of their family get-togethers, holidays. They completely disowned that family.
Wow.
Because they know what's right.
Yeah.
And they know what's wrong.
Absolutely. How could they not?
That takes a big, breath of fresh air to know that people have your back, but they also know what's right and what's wrong. And what happened to me was not okay.
No.
And, I had to keep proving my innocence. Like, I'm the victim here.
Right.
But I had to keep proving, like, no, this did happen. Here's the amount of evidence that I have that this happened. It's uncanny.
Yeah. And sadly, a lot of women, it's so smart of you to document everything that you did, because 99% of women that go through an experience like this you don't even realize how important that'll be later. Like, because the court system is based on evidence, right? They can't convict someone without evidence. Exactly. And a lot of times they won't. It's just he said, she said. It's amazing that you thought to do that, because so many women have nothing to show for it and people just don't believe them. Right?
Exactly. And I mean, once I found all this out, I ended up calling the police, and the police came, took all their statements. I got an emergency restraining order then there. Then we went to court and both took the stand, listened to the lies on a stand. That was interesting.
I'm sure.
Oh, that was interesting.
I'm sure he denied everything.
Oh, his version of the story was like...
You were probably like, what the fuck, where was this guy when this happened?
And I was the best way to explain this situation, right, is when I went to court that day, it's like, if you watch a TV show and you like fall in love with like the actor or the actress, right?
Yeah.
Like for me and Ashley, it's Jamie from Outlander.
Yeah,
right?
every day of the
Oh,
week.
yeah, I love that show,
So
by the
good,
way.
right?
It's so good.
Jamie, it's not Jamie. What's his real name?
Oh, I should know this because he's from Scotland.
He is.
What is his real? Either way, we're both
we'll
single
find out for you.
and available, and we love you.
But it's
Everything.
like that. It's like you're falling in love with the act, right? You're falling in love with that actor. But you're like, if you meet them in real life, that's not Jamie from Outlander. He's playing a role.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Right? So that's the only way I can describe this is I fell in love with the idea or the potential
Right.
of what he was or could have been. But the reality was it was all an act.
That is the story for so many women, even outside of the abuse. Falling in love with the potential of someone,
Right.
having no idea that who they really are is a completely different person than the
Exactly.
person sitting in front of you. And that's what's so scary.
Yeah.
His name is Sam Human, something like that, I believe.
Sam, I'll be back in Glasgow
There
in
you
the
go.
Oh
summertime.
yeah, Sam.
But yeah, somebody once told me when you first meet a person, you meet their representative.
Yeah.
You don't get to meet them until later
And sometimes, if they're absolutely sociopathic, you stay with the representative for a really long on before the real person comes
Well,
out.
it's like
Yeah.
a chameleon. They kind of analyze the situation. They analyze you. They think,
Yeah.
what do you like? What's going to trigger them? What's not?
That's right.
And they become what they think you want them to be.
100%.
Literally.
And then what it's called is a sociopathic mask. And that mask comes off and it's, it's a factual thing. It's called the sociopath eyes.
Mhm.
And they can be in their element and then these eyes just slow down, open up, and they'll stare you out.
That's right.
You have to remember they believe their own lies. They're pathological liars.
Yeah.
And they believe, they have
do.
told themselves so many times that this is the reality.
Yeah.
Like they live in that little bubble.
I want to say this really quick just for any woman that's listening, or man for that matter. It's called the dark triad, and there's the narcissist, the sociopath, and the psychopath. The three of those things they almost coexist with so many similarities, but there are still some small differences. However, there's one thing that you will find in all three, and that is that look in the eyes that when you look at them, it looks like there's nothing there. It is an empty
It's dead. It's
look.
cold.
And you know it when you see it.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you see
Emotionless.
it for the first time and you know what it is, because a lot of times you'll meet somebody like, I don't know what it is about them. There's just something. When you realize, when you put the dots together and you see what it actually is, you'll see it every single time you meet someone that has it.
Exactly. I mean, like as a full circle from this, I went through hell. Let me tell you, I went through hell and back. But it's amazing to think. I am so thankful if I ever had the chance to actually sit in front of him and talk to him. I don't want to know why. I don't care. I don't care because you can't be upset about, I can't get upset about all these people because there's so many of them. How can I get upset? I'm not jealous of any of them.
No.
Right? If
they
anything,
didn't
I'm
know.
jealous that they're not married to him. I've got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Absolutely.
But it's like, I just want to say thank you. Like my life has tremendously got better.
Yeah.
Tremendously got better.
Yeah.
I've gained probably like about 10 pounds, right?
Healthy.
But I always say, if I've gained weight, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Right? When I've lost weight, like something real
Same.
bad's going down.
Same.
Right? And just like old friendships came back, new friendships came in, more opportunities were happening for me. Like all these amazing, beautiful things. While I was in that relationship, I started to lose a lot. I started up my own company. I wasn't giving it at all because my tummy was just like anxiety all the time. Like sometimes I wasn't even able to turn up for my clients, right? And it's like, it just took so much out of me and I started to go fail.
Yeah.
And like our rent, I paid for everything. I got tricked into that. Paid for everything, paid for cars, paid for a whole lifestyle. Well, this individual had a lot of money coming in and never shared it.
Wow.
Right? So
Because he couldn't, because it was all a lie.
it was all a lie, exactly. But I was telling Ashley this actually too, that so my dad's a very strong Scottish man who has his hard love, right? So my dad refused to talk to me for 5 days.
Did he?
Right?
After that happened, yeah.
After the incident, right? And my whole life's went, my face is a mess, etc., etc. My dad refused to speak to me. And when he finally called me this one morning, I'll never forget, he went, Sarah, can you hear me? And I'm like, yeah. And he went, now shut up, do not interrupt me and let me speak. Okay? And I was like, okay. Anyway, you failed. You're a failure. Right? Whenever I tell people that, they instantly go, that's pretty harsh.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
He says, listen, you done something that none of us were able to do. You got up and you left. You moved to the States. You didn't know when you hit LAX if you were turning left or you were turning right, but you weren't going back. Right?
Yeah.
You came here, you knew no one. The people that you know now, the people you're surrounded by, the achievements that you've done that solely by yourself. None of us have done that. He goes, what property do you own? What have you got going for you? How have you ended up in this situation? You're smarter than this. I mean, you've failed. You've went down, down, down. Your company's not doing as well as it should have done. That's not who I brought up. So you're a failure. Now he knows with me that's a trigger for me.
Yeah.
Right.
So then I remember sitting up and I thought, you're right. I'm not where I'm meant to be. I've just had the piss taken out of me and paying for a guy's rent. I've paid for everything. You know, I even took care of his son, who I love, by the way, and I feel so sorry for him out of all of this. But he did. This guy was laughing behind my back, watching me crumble, work 7 days a week.
Right.
He took everything.
He took
from
everything.
You,
He took
physically, mentally, materially, emotionally.
Yeah, and you know what? He took a part of my soul.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though. See that when people say you hit rock bottom and you explode all the way up? Oofed. Yeah. That's just exactly what happened after that call with my dad. And I feel like some people react very differently to hard love.
They do.
And then like soft love. And my mum's definitely the soft one. Like, oh my darling. She's like, oh my darling. That's what she always says.
Yeah.
My darling. Oh, it's okay. Well, it's just going to be better. I don't deal well with that.
Yeah.
My dad's like, you're a failure. Get up. Move. Let's
Prove
go.
yourself.
Like, let's
to
go.
yourself.
Get in that car and drive it like you stole it.
He knew what you needed.
He knew what you needed, yeah. And I would have crumbled with those words. I would have crumbled to even worse. I'm more of a soft love kind of person.
I love to like prove people wrong.
Yeah.
And for my dad to have always, my dad was a huge businessman, and he had this way about him that he would walk into a room in the offices that they had, a huge company in the United Kingdom, and everyone stood up. You know, if they would stand up. They would never talk bad to my dad. They would never get in his way. My dad never had an aggression. He just had a presence.
Yeah.
Right.
And he had that for us growing up. Again, I got it a lot stricter than my sister because no one's doing nothing to my sister, let me tell you. But just for him to say, you failed, I've not made him proud.
Yeah.
So let's change it.
Yeah.
We've got one life. I'm halfway through it, or hopefully not halfway through it, a quarter way through it, right?
Yeah, hopefully not.
But it's just like, it just gives you that trigger. And I remember, and he said, take the emotions out of it. You're in love with someone that was never in love with you because he doesn't know how to love. Yeah. He has no emotion. He has no empathy.
Yeah.
So see this as a business deal. You know how to do business well. So get up, don't cry, right? See this as a business and get to fucking business now. I've never cried since.
Wow.
Great advice he gave you.
Never cried since. And you better believe my life just tremendously took off. And, I think it's really important to realize the difference. Like a sociopath or a narcissist too, they don't really have much emotion. So they don't have any guilt.
No, they have none.
Right? They don't.
But you go through emotions. Like when people say to me, like, don't give him your energy, don't like just cry or just, just don't, or be the bigger person, walk away. I don't know how to do that, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
But I think like one day I might feel like I'm this little cute little sheep, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like just bouncing all about this little field with like not a care in the world, just loving life and everyone love everybody, blah, 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 blah. And then one day I'll wake up and I'm like, I'm William Wallace. I'm ready to put my war paint on. I'm ready for battle.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And then you have a couple of train spotting moments here and there, you know what I'm saying? So,
and isn't that life though? And isn't that healing? Especially after what you've been through. Like, and that's so important for people to understand, and women that have been through what we've been through, is that it's different every single day after something like that happens. You will have moments where you feel like, I'm good, I'm doing better. And then you'll have moments where it hits you like a ton of bricks and you're down for the count for another week. And then you'll feel good again. And then there's the in-between stages where you feel nothing at all. You're not happy, you're not sad, you're just on autopilot. And that is that is normal for the healing process.
Survival mode, right?
Yeah.
Survival mode. But I think like it's so important to know that all these three things, right? They go around like a roundabout.
That's
It's
right.
like a tornado. And what happens is that tornado explodes, right? When it comes and it's at its peak, it eventually disappears.
Yes,
So these three emotions get smaller and smaller and smaller,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And time is the biggest healer.
it is.
No drug is going to subside that.
Right.
No alcohol, no nothing's going to subside that.
Right.
Right. I used to, like, I would drink. I'm
Yeah.
Scottish. It's in my blood.
Right.
Right. I'm not going to like sugarcoat that one either.
Right.
Company. But like, but like now I've like,
You've learned to heal on your own.
you learn to heal, but also like, I don't drink as much anymore. I actually don't know the last time I've drank.
Yeah.
It's great though.
And that's a
It
lot to say
changes
for me.
you.
Yeah.
Things like this change you forever. And it, like you've said before, in the moment, it feels like the worst thing that could have ever happened to you.
Yeah.
But when you finally wake back up and you start to remember who you are never the same again.
Oh, well,
You're
1,000,000%.
never the same again.
I mean, it's the same. It's like I'm so thankful for everything that happened to me, right? And it's just everything's so strong. And honestly, if I could go through everything that I went through again, step by step, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because, you know, I don't know who, like, I am a different person now.
Yeah, you are.
Completely.
it defines you in a way, you know. And I always say it's tough to regret things that you go through when you become so successful because of them.
Right.
Right. If it becomes a driving force, if you take something positive from it and it propels you,
Oh, 100%.
how can you regret it? You know, if you're happy with who you are as a human being right now, sitting here with us, it's very hard to regret even the traumas in your life because they
That's
all led to who you are right now.
That's
yeah.
right. It
Yeah.
led to us meeting.
Exactly.
What
See,
happened to
That,
me?
that in itself is worth
I
it.
would not. Here's the thing.
I agree.
I mean, I would not be sitting here right now, right?
That's
and I wouldn't
right.
have got a new best friend,
Yeah.
right? Without this happening to me.
Yeah.
Like I could take a list and write a list of the amount of things that have happened to me since then. And it's not even been a year yet.
That's right.
It's not even been a year. This happened last May.
Wow.
Right. So just beautiful things and opportunities have came my way. I just feel I talk more. I'm like chatty Cathy.
You laugh more.
Laugh more, smile more. And it's just it's beautiful how it's a beautiful disaster.
It is. It is.
It's a good way to put it though.
And you know what? This is one of the things that I think about when I think about all the horrible experiences I've been with, because one of the things that I feel like I have learned from my experiences, and I feel like so many women like you and I, is that it gives you a new purpose in life, even though it's horrible what you've been through and you didn't deserve it. Your story can help so many people after this, knowing that they are not alone, that there are other women that have been through this and not only been through it, but healed from it and come out on the other side. And it's like a new calling in life, you know?
Exactly. And I feel like I think we underestimate ourselves, men and women. It's not just women.
That's right.
Approach, but like just the strength that you have within you.
All right, everybody, that's it. Thank you for joining us as usual. Continue to give us your feedback. You know that we love it. We hope you enjoyed the episode today with Sara McConnell. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Be sure to check out Sarah's IG at Sugarcoat Hair Extension and her website at www.sugarcoathair.com. Also check our social media out at notfornothing.podcast on IG and Not For Nothing Podcast, one word, on YouTube to watch all our short form and long form content. Thank you guys. We appreciate you. All right, everybody, that's a wrap for this week. As usual, thank you for joining us, and be sure to tune in next week for part 2 with our amazing guest, Sara McConnell. We're done. It's a wrap.